Welcome back to Tu-Vie, your TV movie entertainment needs channel. Today, I'm going to be giving my very first predictions movie for a Marvel movie since the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So I'm very excited. Let's get into it. So, like I said, this is the first prediction video in a long time for the next Marvel movie, which is Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm super excited for this movie. By the time I think this video is going to be coming out, it's going to be out. So, it's going to be around that same time where a lot of news is going to be coming out. So, this is spoiler free. We will be posting a episode on the Tu-Vie podcast, which is a podcast you guys can check out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, tons of different platforms, pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. We're going to be doing a episode about our experiences because we're all seeing it at the same time. So we will do a spoiler filled then, but this is a spoiler-free prediction. And you're probably thinking, oh, what do you mean spoiler-free? You haven't seen the movie. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about just like stuff we've already seen in the clips and just overall thoughts of what I think this movie's going to be. So before I get into what I think the cameos are, I'm going to just kind of give my predictions of the story. And before I do all that, I want to give some spoiler warnings for Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Logan and Loki Season 2, and I guess a little bit in Season 1. So if you haven't seen any of those things, go watch them. They're pretty good, but yeah, go to this timestamp. It's just going to be the last thoughts, but here we go. So obviously we're picking up where we left off in the Deadpool universe from Deadpool 2. And where that left off was where Wade stole Cable's time machine watch thingy and went back in time and rewrote some things of that world. Like unaliving his 2009 counterpart from X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was so thankful. That is the best kind of fan service ever. And sadly, even unalives Ryan Reynolds for taking on the Green Lantern movie, which I get it. Terrible movie. Terrible, terrible, terrible movie. But Ryan doesn't deserve that. You know, he's just like, it wasn't his fault it was that bad. He did fine, I guess. And a bunch of other stuff too. More importantly, he saves Vanessa from catching a bullet. And I think that's going to be the key moment in this movie. Now, I also forgot to mention if you haven't seen What If, or even, I guess, Into and Across the Spider-Verse, what are you doing not watching all these different things? Pause the video here, go and watch all those, then come back, because those are great pieces of content. But if you have seen those things, there are 3 points in time that effectively change the rest of history. Maybe even 4. But the thing is, there's Nexus events that we learned from a little bit of WandaVision and mainly Loki and Loki Season 2. Then we have canon events from the Across the Spider-Verse where there are moments in time that are meant to happen for Spider-Man, but maybe there's something Deadpool related. But there's still something that's a key moment in time. And probably more accurately, there was a key moment in time, or there was a special word they had for it, but basically there is a certain fate that befalls every single person in every universe. And if something were to change that so drastically that the universe and the world itself just consumes itself and disappears. Which was the Doctor Strange episode where he keeps going back in time, tries to save Christine, and it eventually just ends up ruining his world. Now, I think with the TVA, this is going to be a Nexus event. That's what the whole thing was. So, in the middle of his celebration, he gets taken by the TVA, and that's where the movie will begin. The consequences of Wade's actions will be so severe that his entire world is on the brink of collapse if he doesn't correct his mistake. Now, knowing Wade and what his heart wants, he wants to be with Vanessa, and it's looking like that relationship didn't really work out. But the thing is that he still loves her. I mean, he went back in time and saved her. So, yeah, I think he kind of wants her around. And so I think because of that, they'll make a deal saying, okay, the TVA, will have to make a deal with Wade saying, if you do all these different things, saving your world and everybody in it, we have to put you in another one that is in disarray. Our MCU 616, which I don't really call 616, I call it the 19999. That makes more sense to me. It's a whole thing with the comic books and everything. Our world. And knowing that Wade has to leave his family essentially for a chance to be a hero in our world, he accepts it but needs a little help. And that's where I think he's going to do 2 big things. One, I think he's going to be looking for this man right here. And in doing so, I think he's going to be going through different universes because in that universe that he's in, he's he's gone. And with that, I think there's going to be some fun cameos we will see. So I'll get to that in a second. And the second thing I think he's going to be doing is I think he is going to binge watch the MCU. I think when he gets the chance to go into our universe, I think he's going to be trying to be well prepared and understand everything that's been going on so far. And there's going to be moments of him watching other different movies, like him watching Infinity War and saying, like, he should have gone for the head. Or him, like, fast forwarding through most of the Dark World. Or a bunch of other fun things that we could be getting as jokes from the MCU. Maybe him looking at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, and being like, their kids are going to have so much to watch. You know, all these other different things that we essentially talk about as fans from a Deadpool perspective. So getting the correct Wolverine, they go and try and fix this mistake. And in doing so, they have to go to the Void that we've seen from Loki, and maybe I think Loki in season 2, but the fact is that we've seen this thing from Loki. And a lot of the journey of this movie is going to be taking place during the Void. So a lot of the movie is going to be in that area. And that's where we meet our big bad. Cassandra Nova. They either get captured by Cassandra for being on her territory or something, where we see all the different characters like Pyro and all the different people on those cars, and they try and confront her head on, but they fail. And Wade either steals her sling ring, which there's been rumor that there's a time stone and reality stone like welded onto it, or what I'm thinking is that he stole that from the TVA, where I think maybe they even have like a weapons room of all the big weapons of the MCU because they had Infinity Stones as paperweights, so they gotta have something. He opens a portal and ends up back in our world, and they try to formulate a plan. Big speech, big blah blah blah. Then the final act of the movie. It's a work in progress. I'm not perfect. And the final act of this movie is where I think we're going to be getting an endgame style Deadpool arrival, where he opens the spinning ring and a horde of members of the Deadpool army arrive. Change on the big bag, win, day saved. He ends up in our world, and he's roaming free of the MCU. Again, it's a work in progress, but there's going to be a big moment in this movie where he has to say goodbye to his old world and enter ours. Now, with that crap out of the way, let's get to the fun stuff, the cameos. I mean, we're having all the different members that we saw from the first Deadpool movie. Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio, Shatterstar, Peter, Sugar Bear, my man, and of course Blind Owl. But all the cameos I think we're going to be getting in this movie is revolving around him exploring the different parts of the multiverse. So I think in looking for the correct Wolverine to accompany him on this journey, we're going to be getting, of course, Patch that we saw in the trailer, but I don't think it's going to be him, because if you look at this build, that's definitely not the same one here. That's definitely not. It doesn't look the same. It look too scrawny. So with that in mind, I think that Patch is going to be Daniel Radcliffe, a person that everybody has fan casted as Wolverine since like Hugh Jackman said he was done playing him. Maybe some other exploration where we even get another person that's been fan casted pretty heavily, and we all almost bought it for like an hour. Taron Egerton. And I think even in their journey of the Void, we're going to be running into Old Man Logan, which could either be played by Hugh Jackman and all the scruff, or it could be played by a voice actor, Steve Blum, who is famous for his act as Wolverine and many other characters, but mainly Steve Blum as Wolverine. And in the Void, we're going to be getting every X-Men character known to man that we ever saw on the big screen. Hopefully, we'll get a cameo by both Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. It'd be great, as well as McAvoy and Fassbender. It would also could be kind of neat if that rumored Wolverine Hulk cameo was Edward Norton's Hulk and this Wolverine. That'd be kind of cool. I think also in the flashback where we see Wolverine at the grave of all the other X-Men, I firmly believe we're going to be getting a flashback with the James Marsden, original first movie X-Men with him included. Maybe even some Sentinels that we never really got to see in X2, just giving us that flashback. Of course, we have the one that's been in talks forever, which is Channing Tatum's Gambit. I feel like we're going to get like a little cameo from him. Not that big, maybe 10 seconds max. And just so many other characters, I can't even imagine what we're going to be getting. Overall, I think this movie is great because I feel like the MCU in their adjustment period is giving us something that we have been wanting for a long time, which is the mutant era. Feige has publicly said that this movie is the beginning of the mutant era, and I know that we got a mutant tease with Ms. Marvel, but it's good to actually see X-Men and mutant characters in this movie. Now, I know not all of them are going to be making their way, probably even none of them besides Deadpool, in their way to the MCU, but we're going to be getting our version of mutants sometime soon. Could be magic or some kind of other, I wouldn't say lower level, but like other characters from the X-Men movies, like kind of like we saw in the New Mutants, which was just And a bunch of other characters that isn't just Cyclops and Beast. And I know we got a Beast cameo, but that was a different universe. And so there's a lot we just don't really know. This movie looks like a ton of fun, and especially with them going the full rated R route, which is great. I'm so glad that they're not dumbing this down. They're not, kind of holding it to its maximum potential. The movie's going to be breaking so many movie records. It's going to blow the first two Deadpool movies out of the water. There's so many great characters that I am very excited to see and how they do them in a certain way, like Dogpool. I wonder if they're going to give the dog subtitles, if they bark as they're talking, and who's playing Ladypool. I'm just so excited for this movie. I'm glad that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is finally owning the X-Men and giving us a chance to explore these characters that I love and give us characters that just exist outside of the Avengers. I feel like the adjustment period for Marvel's over. They got a good plan. They're going to focus over quality over quantity. Quality of the movies and everything needs to change for the better because everything has changed for the better. And so I think in this phase 4 of Marvel, it's the proper change. I'm stupid excited for this movie. I've been growing my facial hair out for the Wolverine. I'm just wearing a Wolverine t-shirt, and Colin's going as Deadpool, so we're gonna probably post something on our Instagram, which you guys should definitely follow. But I couldn't believe when this movie was announced, and I can't believe that I'm actually alive to see not only Deadpool and Wolverine on the screen, but Deadpool in Disneyland. I don't know if you saw that, but he's at Avengers Campus. So, not in any MCU movie, not in any animated project, but in our outside the window world, Deadpool could be currently talking to Spider-Man in conversation at Avengers Campus, and I'm not there. Makes me mad. But if that was a sentence you were to tell me like 10 years ago, I would have punched you in the face and called you crazy. Overall, I'm super excited for this movie, and I can't wait to go see it. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to also check us out on TikTok, Letterboxd, and Instagram. Post a lot of fun stuff there. Also, be sure to check out other episodes and videos we have on the page here. And like I mentioned, we also have a podcast, the Tu-Vie podcast. Episodes come out Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Central. Post a lot of fun episodes that we have. We're on season 3, episode 23, I think, at the moment. My favorite episode so far this season has been the rise and fall of the Spectacular Spider-Man and the Disney Infinity Story, where you go over 2 big things of my childhood, and it was so much fun. So be sure to check them out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, pretty much everywhere else you get podcasts. We're there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.